but I'm going to have to open the door and just say, like, I'm here.
Boca Juniors. What's happened with them?
Just fighting.
Yeah, but they got arrested, didn't they? And then they play River Plate.
Well, they played Atletico Mineiro, and all hell broke loose.
Yeah, but they played River Plate since. Is what I mean. I think they lost 2-0. But should probably put a bit of the footage here because it'd be quite funny. But basically, they got kicked out the
Copa Libertadores.
Yeah, on penalties when they they had 2 goals disallowed across both legs and it finished 0-0. Second goal I saw definitely. Oh, now I'm wrecking the shop. I don't think that should have been disallowed, but regardless, after the game, basically they went full. I don't know what do you want it like. It's like a Donnybrook, like an ice hockey bench clearance.
Yeah,
where they just went after the whole team. I don't know why they were mad at the other team.
I know it's the ref that caused the issue, but
the
then you
ref
have Marcus
VAR.
Rojo just lobbing
Fire extinguishers
and lamping that security guard.
Yeah, hitting his security guard and that. But like they were trying to get into the changing rooms, and I'm not really sure what happened there. But was it like 8 or 9 people arrested, including players and staff?
I think so. Yeah.
Has anything come of it? I should probably research this before starting the podcast, but
probably nothing will come of it.
Probably nothing. It's South America being South America, isn't it?
But it's like, it's always, I know in the spirit of the game, it's like, it's disgraceful what happened, but it is funny.
It is very, very funny. 100% funny. And
everyone's watched the clips on YouTube where it fully, and it's always in South America, where it kicks off. Or that time with Maradona.
Oh, in the
Copa del Rey.
Against Bilbao, wasn't it?
Just knocking the keeper out.
I read an article about that where he's like, it was basically like the time Maradona nearly got done for attempted murder, and basically they were trying to say that he tried to kill him by kneeing him in the head, which I think is a bit of a stretch, but.
Yeah.
I mean, he did go in. But like with Boca, like we've all been in games or watched a game where you are angry and you do get you get angry at a ref's decision. I mean, I'm still not over Kalina ruling out a perfectly good Everton goal for the Champions League.
Oh, against Villarreal?
Yeah, I'm still not over that. And it always winds me up when people say about him being the best ref ever, because he wasn't. He
was like the only ref to... I mean, he was a cover star of Pez.
Yeah, like he was a superstar.
Yeah. Apparently, though, he's... I think it was like James Richardson was saying in a podcast how difficult he is.
I can
because he's
that.
very much...
Was he in the police or something?
I'm not sure. Wouldn't surprise me. But basically, like, he is very much... If you're interviewing him, like, you need to be going now. Do you know? In the kind of television world, it's not as smooth as obviously they make it look. And he's very much like, no, I'm done, gone. You know, there's no kind of waiting around for him. He's, I think, very direct and to the point.
Yeah, he's got a degree in economics.
Do you know who he reminds me of?
He took a referee's course. He was playing centre back and got told to take a refereeing course, where it was discovered that he had a particular aptitude for the job. Basically, do you reckon he wasn't
the ref? He
wasn't as good as he thought he was, and he was just bollocking everyone on the team, and they'd had enough, so they made him go and be a ref.
But who he reminds me of is, you know, that famous kind of video of the bald guy at the rave, like chewing his face off?
He's doing all that with his hands.
Yeah.
The bounce by the ounce video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's also follically challenged, but...
Oh, massively. Like, he doesn't have eyebrows either, does he?
No. Well, he's got alopecia, won't do.
Yeah.
But, Yeah, anyway, Boca, after they kicked off, it's like, well, they've been, I saw something, I don't know whether it was official or what, it was like, I couldn't work out whether it was just a thing that got lost in translation, because obviously it's,
Yeah.
But basically it said, they've been kicked out the tournament for their actions. It's like, well, they'd lost on penalties.
Yeah.
You can't kick someone out that's like, do you know what I mean? You know, like when
Yeah.
someone gets fired and they go, you can't fire me, I quit. It's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't really matter. Either way, you're not coming in tomorrow morning.
What's the worst you've seen, like when you've played, it, kicking off after a game?
After it, we've had a game called off because of fighting in the game, where we played a team in the middle of Wales. Again, I've probably said this about other teams, but it's basically where there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
It's like a little town. It's got one pitch, one pub. Everyone goes and watches and stuff. And we had 11 players. We didn't have any subs. We didn't have a goalie, so there was a short straw in goal. Realistically, the game shouldn't have gone ahead because it was that muddy. Like the rain was hammering down. You were up to your ankles in mud. And the team were playing with dead dirty. Like, you're taking a throw in, the subs are spitting at you and all this sort of stuff. And you've got girlfriends giving you abuse on the sideline and all that. And then they were quite rough. Half of them were all right, but there was like 4 or 5 that were just arseholes. And as soon as you give it back, it all becomes handbags and stuff like that. But then there was a lad on the sideline, he was a sub, and he was giving me in particular a load of shit because I was playing at the time, I was playing left back.
Right.
And the subs were kind of on the left-hand side, near the halfway line on the left. So I was kind of near him quite a bit, and he was giving me a load of shit. I was giving him a bit back. It is what it is. Nothing major. And he kept telling me, like, you're having it when I come on. You're having it when I come on. So I was like, all right, mate, yeah, sound. And then he come on in the second half, and he wasn't really playing anywhere near me. He was kind of playing centre mid, so he didn't really come near me. But then he came across, and the opportunity to wallop him was just too good to miss. So I legged him up, and he kind of fell face down in the mud. Foul, possibly a booking, but it wasn't. I didn't crunch him. I didn't hurt him. I just tripped him up, kicked him, kind of thing. But my mate, he's normally dead quiet and like reserved, but he basically saw him lying on the floor, and like, like they do, put their hands out to the ref and look up to the ref as if, ref, come on. And before he had the chance to get up and square up to me, which is what he definitely would have done, basically my mate ran behind him, full sprint, jumped on his back and like surfed him because the mud was that bad. And to be fair, that's a straight red, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? But like you say, funny, innit? But like, like when Pepe kicked what's his name up the arse a few times, down in the box, it was like an extreme version of that. And there was like, because it was like the mud was so bad, it left like a perfect smear. There was like no like blemishes whatsoever for about a good 5 or 6 foot.
Yeah.
Like, he did slide, and then he got up and it all kicked off and blah blah blah. And then there's a couple of cards come out and whatever. I think there was 1 or 2 sendings off possibly, but the ref blew the whistle after like it's about 70 something minutes or whatever it had passed. And what are you doing? Blowing the whistle early. He didn't have a plane to catch like that Spanish ref we had. He was just like, look, I'm calling it off or I'm calling the police. One of the two. So we were like, yeah, good idea. And then after the game, there was a bit because they're changing rooms, it was like a really narrow corridor, and it was like home and then away. So we had to go past their changing rooms to get in.
Yeah. And
then obviously past them to get out. And there was only one exit. So they were just waiting for us to come out. So we had to kind of like, it was a bit like that, that ice hockey game with, who was it? Was it the Flames and...
The one with the Canucks?
The Canucks and the Flames, when they both started their fourth lines, and then for the next 3 hours all they did was fight. But when they were trying to get through to the corridor, a bit like the Boca one, but Nobody hit me with a fire extinguisher, so it wasn't too bad. So that was probably the worst one. But we've had a few where, like, we've had players that have been a bit of a dick in the game. There was one where there was a player, I can't remember his name, but he had like a bad nickname. His nickname was like Egg or something like that. They called him Egg.
Was he at least bald?
He wasn't. He had a Joey Barton haircut, and he trying to be a bit Joey Barton, and he was kicking off on everybody all the time. And I mean, on the pitch, not off the pitch where he's allegedly, done what he's done. But yeah, and he was just like, we came out, the game had finished, he was an arsehole, the rest of the team, we're all right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember what the score was, not that it matters. And then we came out and he was just stood in the car park just going, which one of you wants to fight then?
What, in a French accent?
We used to, in school, we had like vending machines dotted around, and used to be able to get a 1p, and if you wrapped it in foil and put it in the vending machine, it'd read as a 20p. So we used to get like loads of chocolate for like 2p because it was like 35p. It'd give you the change and everything.
Yeah.
So do it loads, like empty the machine.
Do you know, in a former job of mine, when I worked with my dad.
All right, yeah.
And there was a canteen, and what they used to do on an evening, because we used to work nights, they would put a chain around the because it was one of those, it's just a fridge
door.
All right, yeah. But they'd put all the cans of pop in there, sweets, like chocolate bars, keep them cool. And because they found a way, if you pushed the chain against the wall to the loop that it was through, it obviously loosened the chain and you could get your hand in. Now, I have very skinny wrists. So, who's the one that gets asked to go and...
By your dad?
Yeah. My dad will go send me to go nick cans of Coke for him, and if I can reach a Mars bar at the top, one of them too.
Have you ever like stolen anything properly? Like, have you ever like shoplifted or anything?
No, no, just from there.
Just from
there. I mean, I have had a friend of mine, not shoplifted as such, more nicked stuff from work.
I was going to say burgled.
Yeah.
I haven't shoplifted, but I have burgled a few houses. Or robbed from work. What, like stock, you mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Nothing as of recent. I just want to... years ago, so obviously there's a funny story in the job that I worked at where I used to get this stuff out of the fridge, and one day in the canteen we went up for lunch. One of the guys I worked with was like, "Oh, here, John, stock cupboard doors open," where they kept all their sweets and all their drinks. And we both go in and just helping ourselves to all sorts in there. And
kid in a sweet shop.
Yeah. And then a guy comes in who we work with. Nice guy, but you couldn't quite trust if he'd grass on you.
Right, okay.
Because what we did was like, right, I'll go in, you keep watch. So he went in, got what he wanted and stuff like that. Comes out. That's my dad, innit? Guarantee. It's my dad.
He's phoning to say he's just been arrested for stealing Mars bars and cans of pop.
Well, there's a story with that too, but yeah. Anyway,
can't really say that one on the podcast.
No. Yeah, ears are burning, aren't they?
Yeah.
And anyway, as I was saying, so I kept watch, and the guy went in and got what he wanted, and then we swapped over, so he was keeping watch. And then I just said to him, "Oh, you're right, mate." And I'm like, oh, "Shit, I'm in the cupboard." But because he was like, I'm going to have to go back to work now because he couldn't stand around and wait for him to have his dinner.
Yeah.
So he's watching telly because there was a telly in the canteen, and I'm in this cupboard, and I'm looking through the keyhole, and I'm like, oh, come on, man. So as he was about, I was like, right, yeah, he's about done now. And then my boss comes in, real nice guy. Oh, you're right, yeah, how's he doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then, he finishes, and then he starts his lunch, and I'm still in this cupboard looking through the keyhole, but he walks past, and I'm thinking, if he sees the padlock, he's an honest enough guy to just, I'll lock that for them.
Put the lock on.
But I'm going to have to open the door and just say, like, I'm here. So how did I end up here? Oh, bloody hell.
Sleepwalking. Fell asleep on the break.
So, but I'm in
Chocolate
there.
round your mouth.
Well, the thing is, because I'm in there and I'm like, oh, whilst I'm stuck in this cupboard, I'm just like getting like, and they're just eating chocolate, having Ribenas and all sorts. Like, I was like stuffed when I came out. And then eventually, like, he finished. And then I went back down to work. And my colleague's like...
2 hours late.
Honestly, yeah. I was like, I've only just come out now. He's pissing himself. Because it's like, yeah. Other things. So, I think the job after that. We used to... Like... We used to always think we were underpaid or we weren't valued for the work we did.
Right.
So, in my mate's mind, he was like, well, I'll take stuff. That makes up.
Yeah, because I'm not spending money on buying things, so I'll take stuff. Yeah.
So we used to have something. So we used to always call it the gravy bowl. It's a long story. If anyone's ever played Power Stone on the Dreamcast, it's like a Capcom beat 'em up. And there's always a guy called Gourmand. He was like one of the characters, and he had this special move.
Gorman, but you're pronouncing it.
Because we used to always go, Gourmand.
All right, okay.
And
how did you go?
Huh?
How did you go?
Gourmand.
Gourmand.
Gourmand. And he used to... It's really hard to kind of explain, but when you used to get your Power Stones, and then they'd have this like special move, and his was like this. Anyone near him, he used to like make this big like stew pot or something. So if you were like near him, you'd kind of get sucked into it. But we used to always be like gravy bowl. We were kids. So anyway, this was years later, so we always referenced it as the gravy bowl.
Okay.
So you'd be walking along. You see something you like, and right, oh mate, so if I saw something, I would pick it up, and I would and I'd drop it in the gravy bowl. We'd always put things. There was just me and him that was in on this. You put things in the gravy bowl, and then
like stock cubes or
I don't know if I can really say.
Oh, because it'll give away where you worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be fair. Anyone that's worked with me will probably know exactly who was involved in this and where. But he used to kind of, end of the day, we used to walk home together. And as we parted ways, like he'd go to his flat and that, and then he'd open his bag and he'd be like, here you are, mate. And like, but when if it was your birthday, he would then, he'd get you stuff for your birthday, but he'd have acquired stuff for your birthday. Yeah, after that, I never really worked in somewhere that I could get away with it, I suppose.
I've never nicked from work. I've never, I shoplifted once by accident.
I nicked a couple of screws, because I couldn't be bothered buying the full bag of them, so I just tore it open and took the screws.
Yeah, it's like that, I guess, is a bit like, eating the sweets as you're putting them in your pick and mix.
Yeah.
Not yet paid for. Yeah, I stole by accident. I stole some CDs because I was in a popular music store in a...
Was it a 3-lettered one?
It was a 3-lettered one. And I was shopping and I had money on me and I had a few CDs in my hand, and it was near Christmas. It was coming up to Christmas, and the music was on dead loud, all the Christmas shite. and my mum phoned me, but I was right near the door. I used to have a security guard on the door and that, and I had 4, maybe 5 CDs in my hand. And I walked out to answer the phone. And I answered the phone to my mum and blah, blah, blah. And then I went to walk back in. But I was like, oh.
I'm already out here.
I'm out here with the CDs in my hand. The security guards watched me walk out holding them. That must mean that he doesn't mind.
And you're still on the wanted list.
Yeah, I'm still banned.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I thought, well, it wasn't quite accidentally because I could have gone back in, but Christmas cues in it. Just keep it. But other than that, no, I've never...
Doesn't Mike Ashley own them now anyway, so...
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah.
If they go under, I'd like to think I played a part in it.
Yeah.
No, I've never really been like that. I've not... never been that way inclined. I've got, mates who nick all sorts of stuff from all sorts of places. Usually funny stuff, not like robbing things. It's just like they'll take something that is funny. But
yeah.
I think it just becomes a habit when you're a student and you go out nicking traffic cones and whatever. Some people just become a bit of a klepto.
My student house, we used to nick the big, massive Decathlon signs, like the huge ones that they used to put on like the lampposts.
I've done it again. I was shocker here.
But yeah, you'd have the traffic cones, all the kind of classic.
Well, we had, when we were in sixth form, we had the common room, and we basically, because all we did really was mess about. I'm just clicking my ear, sorry. That is click my ear, in case people thought I said something else. We had a wall of just signs that we'd nick, because we were like sixth form. How old are you? Like 17 or whatever.
Yeah.
So there'd be like a few signs from school, like no running in the corridor, all that sort of bollocks. But then that became like road signs that we'd nicked, working road works ahead and whatever. But I don't know, like if you had any of these near you, but like when you have like a bridge over a main road.
Yeah.
And people put up like happy birthday. Do people do this near you? Have you ever seen these? It's like a bed sheet with like happy birthday Tony on it, painted on, and it gets tied up onto the bridge.
Yeah.
And it used to be on the Blue Bridge in D-side by the ice rink. Everyone will know where I mean if they've been there, because I think they still do it now. I mean, I think that's what people used to do before Facebook. They used to just put their like things up on there. But we were down near there one night, and we were like, oh, let's put this, because we called it the sign wall.
Yeah.
Let's nick this and put it on the sign wall. And it was like a big, dead long sheet. And it said, happy engagement, like Debbie and Mark or something. I can't remember the names. I think it was Debbie and Mark. And we put that up on the wall and whatever. But our sixth form wasn't just for our school.
Right.
So it was like a consortium. So there was like us, the college, 2 or 3 other schools. And this Blue Bridge was right near one of the other schools. Like it's like the closest one, a few miles down the road. And anyway, we put it up on the wall and then, oh yeah, funny, whatever. But basically the way it worked was whatever subjects you chose, you did a full lesson of it for the morning or the afternoon.
Yeah.
So if you did geography, you'd have geography all morning and then English all afternoon or whatever. And you'd move around the schools because different schools had different lessons sort of thing. And there was like a bus that took you there.
Yeah.
And none of them are dead far. They're only ever like 10, 15 minutes away at top. But basically, the afternoon of the Monday, this girl come in, and because she was from that school, but she had a lesson in ours, and kicked off because it was her sign for like her mum and stepdad that she'd put up, and they put it up on the Friday, and we nicked it before her mum had even seen it. We'd hung it up on the wall in school. She's like, fucking idiots, who's fucking nicked that? Because I think she took it personally, because I think she thought
it was something against her.
It was something against her that people knew. And I spoke to her and I said, look, really sorry. As you can see, we're idiots. We just nicked loads of signs. Because there was ones for like all sorts of stuff. And it was a mum.
We used to have so there's a bridge around the corner from us. And it actually said free Mr. Mandela. Someone had kind of spray painted, but it'd been there a while, and it was hard to kind of see, but the A had faded. So it was like, And I remember, like, as a kid, like, who's Mr. Mandel? It's like, in Neighbours or something.
That a song by, who's that by? Mr. Randall. Or Mr. Wendell. Wendell.
Going back to, like, sixth form, yeah, we I think everyone in sixth form, they do dumb stuff. I remember once, our head of sixth form, we didn't, as time got on, we didn't really see eye to eye, mainly because I didn't really go to many lessons, so just kind of chilled out.
Go to school for the social.
But I took a disabled, the disabled toilet sign?
Yeah.
Like the little square, and I took it off and I stuck it on his door. And I remember him, like, booting off, who's done this, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, he kept quiet about it because I don't think anyone knew. Maybe a couple knew that I'd done it. It wasn't one of these known thing everyone in sixth form knew. I just walked past and seen the opportunity to, like, stick that, because he was kind of getting on at me a bit, and I didn't particularly like him, so I was like, well, I'm sticking that on your door.
Was he disabled?
No. That would have been funny if someone went in, just like...
just did a poo on his desk.
I wish I'd have done that, to be honest. But part of the sixth form area, it was because it was away from, like, none of the other kids could even pass through. You couldn't go through that door.
Ours was like that, yeah.
But there was you could get in and out, like, two ways, but one way it was like a really narrow corridor. And me being quite rangy, I could do that thing, my feet at both sides of the wall and shuffle up.
Yeah, like,
so when someone, so if someone walked through the door and look up, and I would just be like, you all right?
Like some sort of Slender Man.
Yeah. I remember doing, my French exam, doing the oral exam.
French kissing.
Yeah. Eating snails and frogs' legs. Well, I should have worn my beret for it.
You should have worn your beret for this.
And I always remember going in, and because obviously, like, they ask you, like, who you are, like, how are you doing, whatever.
Yeah.
And the first
My
thing...
name is Tony.
Yeah.
I've got 4 sisters. I like to play football.
Yeah. J'aime le foot. And anyway, the question was, what did you have for breakfast? And, I just completely froze, and I was like...
Left Frosties.
I should have said that, shouldn't I? Les Cadbury's Fingerez. And I just was like, poulet. And they were like,
what's that?
It's chicken. It was the first thing that came to my head was chicken. And they were like, poulet? I was just like, poulet. There's nothing wrong with having chicken for breakfast.
They can't prove that you didn't.
Bodybuilders probably have it for breakfast.
Chicken in a rice cake.
Yeah.
Can't prove that you didn't.
But yeah, we anyway, up on that floor, we used to play a lot of shithead.
All right, yeah.
Classic. But we used to play cards up there all the time, and I remember once, I don't know why, but rather than, like, with money, sometimes we would do it for money, but sometimes, like, if we didn't have any money, we'd just get a box of matches.
Right.
And you'd bet with your matches.
Loser asked a genium.
But
take the blame.
One of the...
We used to do that, genie matches. Oh, that is. You just, like... So you get, like, a box of matches, and you get one, and you put it out, but then shut it, so it's, like, poking out.
All right.
And you light another one, you light that one, you put it down, and then it sets fire, but then all smoke comes out the back.
Right.
Like a genie. It's a complete waste of time.
Yeah. No, one of the lads just went and just dumped it on the table.
Yeah.
And we're just like, fuck. Like, in the school, and you're just like, mate, what have you done that for? First of all, it ruined our game.
When it will do, you've got nothing left to bet with.
Yeah. But he's...
I remember when
he's in the army now.
We were playing cards once. We went away on a school trip to Spain, and we were playing cards in the room. And when, like, some people get it and some people don't, because, like,
do I have a good hand here?
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
No, terrible fold.
They were like, yeah, it's awful. 4 aces. Aces are low. Get rid. But, like, I can't remember the thing. It was Euros at the time. It was after the pesetas had been done with. But say, like, me and you are in the hand and he's in the hand, and you go, I bet €1. And I go, right, well, I'll see your euro and raise it. I raised to €5. He'd go, well, I raise your €5, 50 cents, and put 50 cents in. And it's like, no, because you haven't matched the fact.
Yeah.
He did maths at uni. Went on to do maths at uni. Unreal. I think he's an accountant. I wouldn't want him to be mine, to be fair. Unless he could fiddle it the wrong way around, where he gives me more money than I've got.
Alright, it's us, the Turnstile 2. Just wanted to let you know about the podcast sponsor, which is Circa 88. Check out circa88football.com for your football shirt needs.
They've got loads in stock, shirts from all around the world, ones that are really hard to get hold of, like this Mexico 1999 shirt that was used only in
Confederations Cup.
It's lovely that, isn't it? And you can get 20% off. If you use the code Turnstile88 at the checkout, you'll get 20% off your order, and that's for everything on the site.
And also, if you give them a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Circa88Football, and again, don't forget to use that code Turnstile88 for your 20% off.
Thank you. Enjoy the show.
I'm generally calm on the pitch most of the time.
Oh, yeah. Calmer on the pitch.
Calmer.
Yeah.
When I'm in net. Generally calm when I'm in net most of the time, actually.
You're sometimes calm.
I'd sometimes calm, sometimes boot the post or crossbar. I remember...
Or get your foot stuck in the net.
I'll get my... Yeah, I was going to say I'll get my foot stuck in the net. That you can't help but laugh when you're dead angry, but then...
Trip yourself up.
Your
foot stuck in the net.
That's happened a couple of times where I've done that and got myself stuck in the net.
Because you got size 18 feet. And
it happened actually at five-a-side years ago as well, and I got tangled up in the net after. Did I boot the crossbar? But my foot went under the crossbar and got into the net.
Crossbar?
It's five-a-side.
Oh, right, okay.
To be fair, on a full-size crossbar,
You
I
would
could
be
probably,
far off.
yeah.
Ministry of Silly Walks, you'd be halfway there.
Yeah, but and yeah, I don't take losing well.
You're not a good loser.
No.
I've never had a problem with it.
I would probably end
Just
up
a massive
being
loser,
like
so I'm used to it.
Marcus Rojo and throwing a fire extinguisher. Football was never the one where I actually was at my angriest. It's individual sports. Golf.
It's because it's only you, innit?
Mm.
So you're angry at yourself.
Yeah.
I've seen you play golf, and I know that you've abused some clubs in your
Yeah, I remember once hitting a bad shot and I swung my club back in anger, and I remember like turning and my mate was just like, he's dead, like scared face because the club had just missed him. I remember once golfing with my dad and getting dead angry, and I've thrown it so it's got stuck right in the ground. I've thrown it behind me and the club's gone in the woods. There's time I went to go and I played badminton. And I was winning. I think I was 2-1 up on sets, and I was winning, and I'd started to have like a bit of a bad run in this fourth set, and I just was like,
they're only flimsy.
Yeah.
Badminton rackets.
Yeah, and I hadn't even had this racket a week, and I keep hitting my thigh, and I had these like grid marks from like the racket where I kept hitting my leg every time I hit it out or like conceded a point, and then in the end I think the Sheffield Sharks were playing on the other side of the stands.
All right, okay.
And all you can hear me is like snap the racket and like
sounds like when your mate spoke to a seagull.
I know, yeah. And I bent the racket and my mate's like, oh no, I'd hit it along the floor, and he was like, it's fine, you can still use it. It was like almost a triangle.
Like on an angle.
And then I just snapped it and just like threw it in the bin and stormed off this is an international sports venue that I'm there just I initially
kicking off because you're winning.
Yeah, I initially threw my racket into the stands and then got the racket out of the stands, then snapped it in half. It's like proper. I used to do it at tennis. I've thrown a tantrum at tennis, like John McEnroe style. As a kid, I used to have a snooker table, a little one. It was like a 2x4 foot. I used to think it was like a proper full size,
smaller. So it's
and
relative.
I remember losing to the lad that lived across the road from me, and my sister used to laugh. You know, as all the siblings do.
Siblings do, yeah.
And I just picked up
I would have.
the cue and just like whack her with it like a kendo stick. I've stabbed her with a dart as a kid, as a toddler, because as a toddler, I was allowed a real dartboard, a real one.
Not like the little.
And the pub that my mum used
magnetic.
in the pub that my mum used to work at. 2 years old and pulling pints, and it's still there now to this day. So because I was too small for the real dartboard, so I had my set of darts, my set of arrows, and I used to have my own dartboard and used to put it on the floor. So I'd be at the hockey and I used to just throw these real darts as a 2-year-old or 3-year-old at this. And then there was like a pipe, like a water pipe that ran behind it. So I throw this dart and obviously it goes in the pipe. And I pull the dart out and water's squirting at me. And obviously my mum looks over and just sees me like, but it's taped up. It's still taped up. Like all these years, like over 30 years later.
We did that with a gas pipe once. In the tattoo studio I used to work in, they had like a kitchen at the back. It's all been done out now, so it's not like this. But they used to have like the main waiting room and the front desk.
Yeah.
And then they'd have like the kitchen behind it. And it was just like a communal area that we used to go and hang out, like this.
Yeah.
The artists. I mean, I don't know whether I was even working there at the time that we used to do this, but we had like a shitty dartboard, you know, like the pink and green dartboards you get for like £3 from B&M sort of thing, not a proper one. And we were messing about with it, just playing darts, and then very quickly, when you're a couple of idiots, it becomes more than just throwing darts. We'd put pictures of our mates on there or whatever. But then we'd play like off-ground darts, so you have to jump when you throw it, and then it'd be blindfold darts, and then off-ground blindfold darts, and then over your shoulder, and all this sort of stuff. And there'd be like, we'd be laughing our heads off, but there was holes all over the place, you know, where we clearly missed the ball. Some of them I'm like, I don't know, like it's the hole is further away from the dartboard than we were throwing it. Like, I don't know how it's ended, because it was spinning around.
Yeah.
All that. But then it like stuck in this pipe, and we're like, pretty sure that's a live gas pipe. We better leave that one in. So it's like, we left it in for ages, and then had to get it fixed, which was quite funny. But yeah. Anyway, that's detracted from you being a sore loser.
So for even like individual stuff, are you fine?
Yeah, I'm
just cheaters on Call of Duty.
Oh, don't get me started. Cheating on Call of Duty is such a piss take, because they've not got any anti-cheat software.
Yeah.
They just go, oh, well, we've banned 10,000 players. And it's like, yeah, and you've also just had 10,000 new accounts just open up. So they've gone nowhere. That really annoys me. Like, if I lose, it doesn't, like, if I die or whatever, say I die and I'm in the gulag and I lose, like, you've heard me plenty of times go, now you got me there.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if I lose, I'm not arsed. Like, I've never been that bothered. Like, I've never been that competitive.
And you've heard me, well, you haven't sometimes, because it's like, oh, he's cut off.
I've heard
his controller's
I've
the
heard
other
like
side of the room.
Like a noise like that, and then you've just gone quiet for like 4 minutes.
Whilst I pick up my controller and plug it back in.
Sellotape your headset together.
Yeah.
Because you've missed a penalty on.
Yeah. Or like when we used to play that golf game.
Oh, that's quite a bad one. That.
Yeah.
It's infuriating. But that's not because I've lose. I don't care if I lose. That's
just because you're stuck at the other side of the green. You can't get back on it because you've got to go up a cliff.
Falling off a cliff or something. But yeah, like when it comes to like losing and that, I got quite good at losing, because I mean, I'm used to losing because I support Everton.
Mm.
And the team I played for was like the rubbish team in
the
area. But it was good fun and I preferred it. So I was always just like, you know, when your mum's like, well, you know, it's the taking part that counts. And it is when you're a kid. You don't realise at the time, but it is. But then, like, as I've got older, I'm just not that arsed. Like, I don't know whether it's just because I'm so laid back.
Yeah.
I get annoyed by
I'd
rather win.
With me, because I'm generally a laid back person, and people are like, is it because you're so laid back
that it's pent up?
That's pent up, so everything comes out when it comes like competitive. I had a conversation with my mum the other day, and we were talking about that. Did you watch the Louis Theroux documentary years ago? The kid's on medication when he's in America.
Yeah. Like ADHD medication and stuff.
And there was a kid that was diagnosed with OCD.
He couldn't lose, could he? That's why he didn't play anything.
Yeah,
I remember.
And he used to, and when he lost, he would like sit under the table, and we were laughing about that because that kid had nothing on me, nothing on me. Like I say, I still do take losing really badly.
Why do you think that is?
Probably because I got a OCD.
Probably, yeah.
And like I said, it's not so much that you've beaten me. It's the fact that, like, it's all on me.
Yeah.
It's all, I should have done this better. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do this?
Because I know how much it would annoy you if I beat you at Pro Evo. Which
you have done.
Yeah. Because I don't play the game.
Yeah.
Very often at all.
Yeah.
So I know that it would really...
And I can still remember losing on, and I think it must have been like, what would have been like Pro Evo 2 to my mate. And it still bothers me because he's never once had a rematch. As soon as he beat me, that was it.
That was it, game
That
over.
was it.
Well, we
Whereas he won't remember that. But it's like, what, nearly 20 years later, and I still
want a rematch.
I still want a rematch.
Would you rematch on the original game? Or
doesn't matter. If it's original game.
Does it need to be this, could it be anything? Could it be chess or?
No, because he beat me at that.
Can you play chess?
No. I used to, years ago.
I can play, and like when I say I can play it, like I know the rules, I know what moves. But you know when people there's playing chess, and
like
then there's
so many moves ahead.
Yeah, they say that the name of the move, like
yeah,
King Bishop to 4-5 or whatever it is, and I'm like,
we used to play it at school, like on rainy days.
All right,
which it's terrible because you're so used to going out with a footy. And going back to
being a loser,
such a loser. I don't think I'll ever get over it. I get. See, I'm quite respectful when I beat someone.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
The gloating, the pain of losing.
And I know how much I hate people gloating.
Yeah.
And it winds me up, and I think like that just triggers me even more because it's like when I beat you, I'm gonna beat you bad. In this, in the not physically, unless I was boxing or something or mixed martial arts, but like my mindset then changes to kind of proper Ivan Drago. I will crush you.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah. So it kind of brings out the worst, in terms of
yeah.
But
it's funny that I don't get that at all.
So if I do win, I'm like. Like if I play online and say if I'm playing someone online and I score a goal, I'm the guy that like skips the celebration and the replay and go back to the game. But then if they celebrate and do all the bollocks, then I'm like, right, okay.
Toxicity level.
Yeah. But I will generally kind of just go a bit quiet, a bit like I'll sulk basically. But like I say, I had the conversation with my mum and she was like, I don't know anybody that takes losing as bad as...
Is it just with games and sports and things?
Yeah.
Or do you get it in anything else? Like if
Monopoly.
I mean, that's a game, isn't it? Everyone gets that in Monopoly.
The last time I played that, I had a sulk and quit.
Did you flip the table up?
No, but as a kid, I would do that.
You'd be no good coming to poker with me.
No.
It'd be funny, though. But, like, do you get it in... I don't know, like, I suppose I was going to say in, like, day-to-day life, I suppose that would come down to more, like, jealousy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, trying to think, say somebody got promoted at work.
Of course that'd trigger me.
Yeah, I mean, that would trigger you.
It would trigger you. I think it would trigger most people.
It's probably not open that kind of worms. But,
no.
But, like, do you get it with anything else? Do you get, like, I have to be the first to pass my driving test, or do I have to be the one that does this or anything? Because some people are like that, are competitive at life.
Yeah,
not just games.
No, I'm generally in day-to-day stuff. I'm not like that.
Because you don't come across that way. That's not why I'm saying it. The only time I ever really see you rage is when I hear you raging on Xbox, which is always at least once or twice a day. Or like when we're playing footy and you'll concede a goal and it'll be...
I shout at myself.
Yeah, and I was about to say, because you play on a team where the goal might not be your fault, it might be a lack of defence or whatever. But you let in the goal that, it's a good goal.
Yeah.
They've took it well, they've hit it well. If you were watching my team play, you'd go, just a good goal, that.
Yeah.
But because it's you like, kick the post or whatever, but you're angry at yourself.
Yeah.
It's never at other people.
No. I've never been one for... It's always one of those, if someone shouts at me, I'll shout at them.
Yeah.
So I've had it in the
That's
past.
different though, isn't it?
When I've had my striker whinging at me for doing something in my, like, not coming out or claiming a ball or something like that.
Yeah.
But he's at the halfway line. So when he like misses a sitter or should have made the pass, like I've ran out of my box screaming at him. But it's always been one of those, like, if you do something to me, then I'll...
That is different because that's when it's directed at you.
Yeah.
And I can be a bit chopsy. It's been alleged.
Yeah.
But never like aggressively so or anything. I think, to be honest, I just, more than anything, I'm looking for something funny to say.
Yeah. The thing is with me is I will laugh as soon as I've calmed down. Like, I'll laugh about it.
Yeah.
But I'll never get, like, as a kid, you'd get aggressive about it. But the older I got, like, I don't get aggressive about it. In terms of, like, I would never physically, hit someone or something. I'll throw, like my water bottle.
Yeah, I was about to say, I've seen you throw a water bottle.
I'll throw my water bottle or I'll throw my gloves or, I'll do something. Yeah. I remember once, and I was playing Xbox, like, let's say 15 years ago or something. And when I was in America, I got this Orlando Magic cup, like one of them, with the lids and the...
Oh, like the straw thing.
I had hot chocolate in it. And I had a magnolia wall.
I can see where this is going.
And probably playing Pez. The likelihood I was playing Pez.
Give away a free kick 40 yards out and they put it in the top corner by any chance. Happens every single game.
Back in the day before that used to happen, and I launched it. Because it's whatever's near me, I will like grab, throw, and not think about it because you get that red mist.
That's why I don't play Xbox on mine, so you don't throw me dog at the radiator or something.
And I launched this cup and it just smashed against the wall, but obviously there's hot chocolate in it. And it just is all over the wall. And I'm like, luckily the paint is that one where you can just wipe it off. But otherwise, that would have been a nasty mess. I pooed up the wall in anger.
How did you do that? Oh, I lost at pairs and I pooed up the wall.
The amount of controllers I've smashed. I've spent a fortune. I always say they should make a foam controller for people like me.
Do you know what? That can be your Dragon's Den.
Yeah, get Nerf involved.
Like, do you remember? I never saw them in real life. I never know anybody that had one. But do you remember that? I can't remember what it was called. Was it like Amazing Games? And it was like a kids BBC or ITV show, and they used to go in like a lift, and it was like Mark Spate's face in the lift, like a Max Headroom kind of thing.
Is that him that died?
R.I.P. in peace.
Yeah.
Mark Spate. And they'd go up, and they always like they one of the games was like a bit like Nightmare, like they have to move around to avoid this bloke with a cape. And there was another one where they'd go in like a massive bowl of alphabet soup, and they'd have to spell a word, but they'd have to like dive underwater and pick these letters. Do you not remember this? I hope that this is an actual thing.
Rings a bell.
It's called like Amazing Games or something, and they'd have to spell the word.
Yeah.
Like it was like a big fridge, and they'd stick like the
It does ring a bell.
But in the final like game was where the prizes were. They'd have to find stuff around this big like penthouse things, and it's always a bouncy phone. They'd always win a bouncy phone, and it was like, I don't know, it was rubber or foam or whatever, but it was pre-mobile eras, so it would have been on a lead, like on a, like wired up to your like a house phone, like a bouncy house phone. So you
Yeah.
do like a bouncy controller, like a foam
To go with your bouncy pager.
to go with. Yeah.
Did you ever
Yeah.
have a pager?
No, I
Did.
never.
My sister did. My
My
older
mate
sister did.
and I didn't fully understand how it worked.
Do you
to be
like
honest.
ring up and just say, "Oh, can
Well,
you
that's
send a
what I
message to?
Yeah, that's what I thought because we used
Can
to try.
Can you send the message pubes?
Just like, can you put lots and lots of eyes in that? So it says pubes. But no, like my mate had one, and we tried to send him messages. Obviously, giving him abuse.
I've actually gone a normal watch for once.
It's not like you.
I know. Mainly because I don't want messages popping up
Popping
or somebody
up,
or
yeah.
vibrating or. But yeah, one of
Someone
the many
telling you they've
watches.
beaten your high score on Xbox, so you don't throw the microphone across the room.
Yeah. I actually, going back to that, I was thinking of the many times I've broken control pads on every console I've owned. I always remember playing PES, Pro Evo, World Soccer, Winning 11, whatever.
Football now.
Yeah, eFootball. Rest in peace, PES. Do we have another hour for me to rant on about that? And I remember, I think I was drawing the game. And it's one of those, like, you're playing in a Master League. I'm about 20 points clear. But I drew a game, and I just was, like, radiator next to me. I just went, boom, and just threw it against the radiator, smashed. I remember once I was at uni, and I had my Nintendo Wii. And there was, like, a few of us in the living room. And I was playing, I had FIFA on the Wii. And you have, like, the classic controller that you can plug into your Wii controller.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I don't know why or what. And I'm just playing, and I do it so calmly. I'm just like... and then I just kind of get the controller on the lead. So I've got so I ain't got the controller in hand. And I just goes... bang, and smash on the table, and it just goes flying everywhere, and everyone's just sat like, what the hell is that? And I just sat back down, and I was like, shit. Knowing I've got to now buy another
You've got to
one.
go and buy another one for your mate.
Why couldn't it be just something that costs about £2? Not something that costs
Expensive now,
£50.
That's what I mean. I think it's because of
And they get more and more expensive. So
because
now
of people like you.
Yeah.
You just think, oh well, we'll make these games dead hard, and then morons will keep smashing the controllers up and have to buy a new one.
It's like I played. I think I played Uncharted 4. I went through. I broke 2 controllers just playing that game alone.
I've never done it.
Crash Bandicoot. I broke one playing that.
I've come close, but I've never done it. I might have teeth marks in one of them where I've just gone, ah. But
My last Xbox One, I mean, I had that super glued everywhere, and
I
that,
remember seeing
and
that,
then that
and
rubber case.
It looked like something like Blue Peter.
Yeah, and then that little rubber casing on to hide the fact that it's just all glued together with Gorilla Glue. But then then I threw it again and smashed the left bumper, so I couldn't change player, or it would stick in. We actually had a game, didn't we?
Yeah,
It would stick in, so like
Yeah.
I'd go to like shoot, and it'd just be like a chip. I'm gonna have to buy a new one now. So
another 60 quid gone.
yeah, so I got that new Xbox One.
With that button to
Button.
record.
My sick goals or the awful miss. I think I saved that. I haven't. Might have to post that on our Twitter. Where I missed from about a yard out. I don't even think it's that. It's probably like a foot out.
I prefer you to post on Twitter your reaction to missing from a yard out.
I was going to burp down the mic then, but I thought best not.
Yeah, we've started recording.
Yeah. But yeah.
But we're nearly finished, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end it.
I think so, yeah. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, Circa 88
Yeah.
Fitba.
That's football.
Yeah. But for our Scottish viewers.
Yeah, for the non-Scottish viewers, Circa 88 football. He's just relaunched the site, I believe.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Or a long time ago. Either or.
Bit of both. Depends on when this one comes out.
Yeah. Watch our ad. Well, it's somewhere in here. We'll
Yeah.
decide where we throw it
We'll
in.
put it in at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find a spot for it. But yeah, nice one. In a bit.
In a bit. Bye.